The industries I've worked in, risk management has been an important tool and a required tool for use. That goes from automotive industry, aerospace industry, defense, and medical device. I've worked in others, but those big ones, heavily regulated or heavily critical that things are done well. But in those mandated environments, what's often lacking is the true attention to the value that that tool provides. There's good reason behind it, but the value gets lost in the execution. And so that's where kind of the second kind of bullet and highlight that I want to have is how can you use it in a way to gain that value? So the value of it is in prioritizing your focus for your management, for the resources you put behind it, whether it's in dollars, research, partnerships, or in labor. So it's prioritizing those resources. It's also understanding where you're going to need some schedule slack, the timing for things, when decisions need to be made, so that you can hit your end date. It's really the risk is being able to meet the product requirements on schedule with a given set of resources. If you need additional resources, that modifies the overall project plan. Any project plan for a new product development project, at least, is done with risk management in mind. You're doing something you've never done before, at least parts of it have never been done before, and you need a path to go from point A to highly confident to launch. If you weren't doing anything new and different, there'd be no need to develop it. It'd already be done. Because it's not done, there's uncertainty. We need to anticipate those areas to have focus on, or at least to be aware of. So that's the value of it. But how can you do that and gain the use? If you use it only as a mandated tool, you're certainly going to lose that value. You're going to do it probably as a paperwork battle right at the end of the project to meet a deliverable. But if you can actually use it and keep it simple, don't boil it down to every nut and bolt of your product on day one. Do it at a very high level, conceptual, break it down, have it in big groups, and then review it on a periodic basis through your development. If you do those things, the use doesn't have to be so challenging. And for usually the challenge I see a lot of teams just in the execution where it's no fun is two things. One is that people don't want to admit there's going to be problems. They don't want to talk. I mean, you probably saw the word risk and you thought, ooh, wow, let's not talk about that. But usually what I do is I just talk about, well, what issues happened on the last project you worked on that was similar to this? What kind of concerns they have, what challenges they have, what things slow down the project. Those are the key risk areas that you need to highlight, and then think about this one of what might go wrong. Assume it's not you doing the work. If it was someone else that has to pick it up because you get moved to another area on the project, what things should they be aware of? What things should they focus on? So that's one. The second one is numerical scoring. People get way too wound up on what the actual score is. Some of these systems are, say, on a 1 to 10 scale. Is it a 6 or a 7? If I hear that debate, I'll just make it a 7. And oftentimes the score doesn't matter, either because it's so low or because it's so high already. The incremental difference between a 6 or a 7 doesn't change what action you're going to take. And that would be, I guess, the third point, or not the third point, but a point about the usage of the tools. It's not on creating a risk management document, it's on identifying actions. When I've done this with a particular company that had just repeated field issues and customer service complaints, doing this risk management and modifying the project plan for their new product up front, a year later, after launch, those issues had gone away. And so that's what the value is. It's not in creating a tool because someone told you to. It's in understanding the potential risks, the things that have existed before, how you can make them go away. Do it simply, high level, break it down only as needed, and try and modify your project plan, modify your resources, so when you do launch, the problems won't show up and you can move on as smoothly as reasonable to that next project. If you like that type of risk management, if you like actually that type of smooth transition of launch, give us a call here at Perry Solutions. We'd love to help you achieve the same thing we've done for countless other organizations.